Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. I'm your host Josh. SalvationsElite to my right is Bash _ Bo3, and to our farthest right is Rex, ShadyNero, and guys, you know this is about to be one of the wildest episodes in our history, maybe the wildest episode in our history. There is beyond a lot to talk about today with Rostermania on its way, 4v4, and reacting to CoD Champs. Before we get into any of it, I've got to ask, guys, what is going on?
Josh, I have been going through a whirlwind of emotions about everything that's been happening. I am a whirlpool in the middle of the ocean. I am like the Bermuda Triangle. Ships are passing by. They're disappearing. Who's that? It's ILLeY? I don't know. It's just things are disappearing, but somehow it's mysterious. It captures you. You just want to think about and talk about it even more.
Nice.
I mean, this was one heck of a weekend for Rex and the boys. But before we get to that, Sam, how you doing?
Doing good. Overwhelmed.
Wow. All right. Short
Two
and sweet.
words.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
But guys, all of you out there, I mean, this has been one heck of a weekend. Obviously, last week we had the playoffs kind of leading into the finals. We had the losers semis, the winners finals, the losers semis, and the grand finals. And the Dallas Empire were crowned champions.
Crowned victorious.
Crowned victorious. Wow. Trademark. And we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about 4v4. So you can follow us on, wherever podcasts we listen to. Yes. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We appreciate all the comments, the reviews. We do read those pretty often around here, which we'll be reading again next week. And you can follow us on Twitter, like I said, SalvationsElite, Bash _ Bo3, and Rex, ShadyNero. We got a lot to talk about today. And also, before we get into the news, I have to say we were going to do hottest operators today. But then the 4v4 news hit, and we're like, there is no way we're going to be able to do all of this in one episode. So hopefully the news slows down a little bit next week, and we'll do hottest operators for all of you lovers out there. So it's going to be a good time. But without further ado, let's get right into the news. I'm scared, Rex.
The Call of Duty News of the Week.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. So, and a weird week for news. Like, I mean, our biggest piece of news is obviously going to be the majority of our show today, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Both of these things. Breaking news. Dallas Empire are your Call of Duty champions. All right. Woo! I had to throw that out there. I know. Who'd have thought, right? Breaking news, spoiler for all of you out there who've been, this is your way to figure things out. That's sad life. And then, of course, 4v4 confirmed by the CoD League for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War season. We're going to be talking about that for the other part of our show, so we'll hold on to that. And also expansion teams. This is part of that conversation. It's not looking like we're going to have expansion teams.
Well,
what are they doing?
That's
why. I'm scared.
Yeah. So should a lot of pros.
Yeah, a lot of pros should be scared too. It's going to be a wild time. We're going to be talking about all of that here in a little bit as well. So, I mean, shout out Octane. Breaking news, he has more than 10K in fines. Like I said, this is going to be a weird week for news.
It's very strange.
He has more than 10K in fines, which is insane. He tweeted about that, like, about prize money and, like, getting fined more than, like, the prize money and
unfortunate
everything. And the last kind of, like, the other pieces of news is that Joe was no longer the coach of the London Royal Ravens, kind of like heading into the COD. We didn't really know that this happened. They kept it under wraps.
Oh, right.
And that was talked about. So he's no longer the coach of the London Royal Ravens, which is what we expected. But that was like a weird situation there because they kind of kept it under wraps. And like with how that played out. So that was a little weird. But yeah, we found that out this week as well. And then All-Star Weekend. Woo! Yeah. All-Star Weekend.
What?
I know. Dude, get hyped.
Why?
Get hyped.
Is the only question there.
They announced an All-Star Weekend for September 12th and 13th. It's going to be $100K, which is like legit money. Do you want to win the NA Challengers, grand finals? No, you want to win the All-Star weekend. All right, 100K on the line. It's 1v1s.
That's so weird.
It is
It's
fan
just
voted.
So
crazy.
strange.
Thoughts? Rex?
I mean,
Sam?
How many of these pros have already deleted the game off their PlayStation?
Oh, the second that match ended, whatever match it was for them.
Yeah.
The fact that they're doing it even after champs, it's like people are over it now, and it's 1v1s. Like, who I could care less. At least make it like 5v5s, and then it's just like 10s, but with like the all-star players. But the 1v1s are just I could care less.
This was probably Joe Seacott. Like, let's make them.
Dude, they're going to love this.
Let's make them suffer one more time.
Make them play gunfight. Everyone loves gunfight.
I know. Well, something that we were talking about is like, why not, like, wouldn't it be cool to like do like a throwback, like on like an older COD, like whether it's like do a throwback tournament all-star weekend. That would be sick.
It'd be awesome.
Like they did like a BO4 fan voted teams all-star weekend. That would be sick.
Pretty cool.
But, or something like, it could be any game. World War II, I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
Play a game, throwback, I would be lit. Obviously, it doesn't really make sense to do an all-star weekend on a game that you weren't playing. But let's be honest, it's better than doing 1v1s.
Absolutely.
So, that was not ideal.
It's going to turn into like trick shot and like you just know.
They're going to be doing snipers only.
Yeah.
I mean, someone's going to go sweaty hard and it's going to be
Probably.
obnoxious.
I mean, it's $100,000 somebody could earn. So someone
That's
on
true.
Paris, if they make it, might be nice chunk of change.
Kismet's throwing on the rapid fire.
He's going
this
crazy.
This dude's going so hard.
Oh man.
But yeah, we really don't have too much else for news this week besides like all of the news. That is basically the rest of our show.
Yes.
So we're going to hop in to segment 1 real quick here and get into it because I know this is going to be going on for a while with a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's talk about who the worst team in the league is.
Oh boy.
Trash. Garbage.
It's so weird that doesn't work.
I know. So obviously, there's not much trash or garbage here at CoD Champs Finals because there's the 4 best teams in Call of Duty competing this weekend. It was a wild time. And I mean, we learned a lot about these teams. Of course, again, we're going to keep this kind of short and sweet because everything we learned about these teams is irrelevant now. So, because next year it's going to be, no matter what happens, a whole different 5 or a whole different 4. And it's going to be a wild time. So, I mean, what were your biggest takeaways from Champs as a whole? I mean, it peaked at what, 335,000, I think?
The most viewers competitive COD's ever had, right?
Supposedly the most all time in any event, which I feel like
That's
Ghost
so weird.
or AW would have been pretty close to that.
I think Adam Apicella tweeted out that he thought, I forget, it was in 2017.
Oh,
which
IW.
event it was.
IW then.
Was close, but he didn't refute anything. He said it's probably good.
I would imagine maybe when OpTic won CoD Champs, like those grand finals, maybe would have had around 300,000.
That's so weird though that like this was the most.
I mean, again, that's
crazy.
a good sign for competitive Call of Duty moving forward, which I mean,
Absolutely.
it shows the power of in-game integration. It shows the power of using beta codes for a Black Ops Cold War beta. It shows the power of marketing. Who'd have thought that marketing helps? And like the power of money that like on a game that everyone hates. I mean, in the competitive scene, everyone hates Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
And we're bowling in 300,000+ viewers for CoD Champs Finals, the most in CoD Champs history. So it's like, that's pretty insane.
You wonder how much of like the Warzone advertisement helped, like in-game Warzone.
So is it inflated because Warzone's loved so much? You know, because like Warzone isn't COD, like, you know, so maybe that could be part of it. But it felt like it was like a pretty competitive like viewership fan base overall. I don't know.
I mean, I think
Which,
it was
like-
the streamer personalities really who like they're playing Warzone,
True.
but I think it's the streamer personality numbers that kind of come into play.
They did do watch parties for Champs.
That I think it's the watch parties that elevated those numbers more.
True. Which like overall, like even if it's not like, you know, a core competitive scene, that's good. Like we want more viewers.
Because
you know?
I think, which is like, that was something that we've been talking about for a long time, and I've been definitely talking about for a while on my channel, is like the need for integration into the pubs content scene to bring guys in. It's an easy transition. It's like a really easy transition. Like makes sense. Finally, thank you. But yeah, I think they had Courage They had Noah J. They had Vicstar. They had Dr. Disrespect. They have anybody else?
Nick Merckx?
Was Nick Merckx
Did Nick
on there?
Merckx doing it? I would imagine.
Gosh, I don't know.
No, you're right. I think Nick Merckx was doing it as well. So at least those 5, which is a good. I mean, that's a great
massive
start.
streamers. So
Yeah, that's a good start. So hopefully they can do more with YouTubers, like when it comes like the pub side of things, like those guys like Korean and all the Carnage Clan guys and Pomage and like the big pubs YouTubers. For some reason, competitive COD's never ever cared to try to integrate with their audiences at all. So that's a whole different conversation. Anyway, I was pretty excited to see the big numbers. I was pretty excited. So all right, Rex, Sam, let's start with Rex. Biggest takeaway from the Final Four. Go.
London went on a very impressive tear. They just got that fire and they just rolled with it. So they did great. Really impressed me at the end. But then I think they really did get iced out going into that last weekend.
A whole week.
A
whole week.
And then I know Scump was saying like they were kind of somewhat nervous for Ravens. Thought it would be a harder matchup, but it wasn't. But that's kind of what I thought might happen.
Yeah.
Huntsmen, they were what they were. They're good, but like I never saw them being really championship material ever. I don't know if anyone legitimately could say that they ever really thought that. And then FaZe was, really good until I guess they got outsmarted by Empire, who clearly was the most prepared out of every single team there. Empire was
right. Oh, for sure.
Heads and tails, just like they were there to win, and it was just clear that they just were more prepared going into this and had put in more work. So I had a lot of respect for Empire. And I think Empire is paving the way of how the future of Call of Duty is going to be run by these orgs and how teams are going to start forming and carrying themselves.
Yeah. I like one thing that like right off the rip you notice is like, I mean, at the end of the day, the top 3 were Chicago, FaZe, and Empire. The 3 teams everyone predicted to finish top 3 back in December before even the first event. I mean, it shows the consistency that guys can have. The talent wins out generally in Call of Duty, and that like people aren't crazy. Like this is how like there are good teams, and good teams can stay good for a long time. And like through LAN, through online COD, through all the metas, these 3 teams were the consistent best 3 teams throughout the whole year. I mean, I was wild.
You know what my biggest takeaway was?
What?
Age is just a number.
Oh, you're going pro this year.
I am going pro this year. No, in all seriousness though, like it was cool in a Call of Duty where I think a lot of people thought the most cracked kids were gonna outperform everyone else. It was cool to see
who was clutching up at the end.
It was cool to see the veterans of Call of Duty, the smarter players, outwon. Like I was so like part of me. Okay,
like to see at the end, like like Crims getting the final kill to kill Priest. Like that type of stuff.
When I say this, I don't mean to take away anything from the AMs that came on. Like Awakening. Mac. Who, like whatever. I was worried that a lot of people were just going to pick up, these like the most youngest players who were quote unquote cracked and then throw them on a team. I'm so glad that we can see that teamwork and just overall dedication to the game and getting better is going to outwin every single day. And then to have a veteran on your team is just like, you can't put a price on it. I mean, you can put a salary on it, but like,
True.
It's just, I was so happy to see Empire win. Honestly, it was cool to see Clay and Crim
gotta
win.
tear up some of those veterans out there who are just like, dude, Clay and Crim are out here winning COD champs in 2020,
back to back Clay, bro.
And like let's imagine your study. You're like, why did I retire?
I know, like it, and it sucks too to like come from an era where money wasn't coming in if you weren't winning. Like now with salaries, you can not perform the best, but still still have that base salary. But it like think about like all the pros that
like if you're like Proofy or Neslo or something like that, looking in at this, and you're like oh
crap.
My word.
I started competing at the wrong and I can't they would
There's
never
so many
known.
other factors.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are, Rex, but like, it's a lot more than age for why
Yes.
someone doesn't
Yeah.
get good. It's all the other things, like motivation, practice.
I think there's a balance that has to be achieved. So like veterans definitely bring things to a team, but
Mhm.
believe you really do need your cracked individuals on your teams as well.
Definitely. And yeah.
You just need a
Totally
veteran
agree.
that can like utilize them in the proper way.
Mhm. Yeah, like I guess I was getting more at like just throwing 5, crazy talented young players on the
It
team.
was our conversation from last week. It
It
was
doesn't mean that doesn't work because FaZe, in a way, did do that, and they were very successful. But at the end, you could tell just like Empire just was the better team.
Mhm.
I mean, realistically, like we talked about last week, I mean, those 2v5s were the difference potentially in champs.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not convinced that if FaZe wins those 2v5s and ends up winning the Ramaza in the winners finals and they win the winners finals, I'm not convinced Empire is going to beat them in grand finals. I mean, again, Empire came out and surprised us with their map pool, especially specifically on Cave.
Yeah.
With how they used those setups on Cave to dominate FaZe, which was just
incredible.
Man.
insane.
The brains is just amazing.
And like how they played for the rotation from P4 to P5 and how they played P2 on the second rotation of Hills. Both time. I mean, basically their game from winners finals and their game from champs or grand finals is like the exact same thing happened.
yeah.
It was crazy. It was like you're like watching a replay.
So you're saying you don't think Empire would have won if they
I
would
said
have
I'm
lost?
not guaranteed. I wouldn't guarantee it. Like I mean, again, they were. It's a whole different mentality, you know.
I guess
FaZe has
so.
a whole day to prepare. You're sending Empire down to play the Huntsman.
Mhm.
You know, I think there's a lot of X factors there when it comes to like how that plays. Then you're probably gonna play a different map set at that point too, with how the vetoes work out for grand finals. Like, there's a lot of factors there, and like, but again, they didn't clutch up, and that was because they choked. I mean, they just straight up choked. There are 5 young guys that choked in the grand finals in an S&D game 5, or in the winners finals game 5. They miscommunicated on some setups. They weren't there for their trades and 2v5s, and it came back to bite them against veteran-led teams. Like, it's gonna happen unless you're playing smart S&D. I agree. Age is just a number.
Age is just a number.
I mean, when it comes to like London as a whole, I mean, you know, they looked outclassed, right? They looked outclassed. Like, even if they were playing their best COD, I'm not sure if they would have won. You know, like in a type of situation like that.
Yeah.
Which they weren't playing their best COD, but it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on London?
Yeah. I think their ceiling is
Sam, your boys.
Yeah, I know. London, I kind of hate you for, literally doing the exact opposite of what I wanted you to do this whole year.
I know, man.
But
it's tough.
Yeah, there's just a feeling of their ceiling was just lower than,
for sure.
The top 3, right? But I just like seeing Shining Zero just come out and just put on a clinic. It was really cool. And they may have done that at the right time, especially with 4v4.
Oh my.
They may have secured their spot on London. So props to them, because honestly, all year, my thoughts on Shawnee was just average.
I mean, yeah.
But like he
had some fun interviews.
Yeah. His interviews were really interesting. But yeah, he like the thing that people remember the most is champs, right? Like Kleenex probably got on to Toronto because of his champs performance,
100%,
right?
100%.
So the time to shine is at champs, and Shawnee and Zero did that, which is, again, just props to them. So I don't know if you're going to see, like, do you see, again, we'll get into this later, but like, is it going to be Skrapz was Can Shawnee Zero, and then you just drop,
I don't know. This sounds like spoilers.
I know, sorry. But yeah, props to London though. Like that, no one expected them to be top 4.
No.
No one.
No
way.
I mean, maybe at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, maybe.
But not
Not coming in,
not 3 months ago.
Not coming into champs tournament for sure.
No, definitely
no
not.
way.
Definitely not.
If they didn't lag out in that first series, do you think they would have gone as far as they did?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's a weird.
It's an ironic question for sure, but like it's definitely a valid one. I mean,
Definitely.
they felt like they had that fire, especially in that rematch against Toronto, that like, we're going to come out and prove to these people that we deserve to be here, and everyone was writing them off, and I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, because do they not have that fire? If they don't ever have that lag out, do they not show it? Or do they dominate in the winners bracket?
Who knows?
I don't think I don't think they go as far as they did if they didn't get that lag out and lose like that.
It's an interesting argument to say the least. Like, it could have brought that little extra fire you need in those big moments, you know, to make it happen. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, do you guys agree with the MVP selection of Champs MVP? Crimsix is the Champs MVP of the Call of Duty League.
I tweeted about this.
Porterhouse.
I tweeted about this, and I said, if Crimsix and Clayster both win the MVP, I'll shed a tear. And I know Crimsix won it, but then he's like, I'm splitting it with Clay, which
I'm water splitting this thing.
Which I thought was the perfect response, because it really was who they both really built that team and really took those rookies, or the younger kids, under their wings and brought them to where they are now. So I thought they were the perfect picks for that, and they played well. So
yeah, I mean, Crim was legitimately a beast in Dom and especially S&D, and in this tournament, S&D was the difference for him multiple times. So it's just like, who'd have thought, Who would have thought we'd be sitting here in 2020 and Crim and Clay are basically co-MVPs of a grand finals and a champs.
Miles' face.
Oh my word. During the interview, cutting. And dude, Miles is like, no, stop, please.
You can tell he was like, move on.
Dude,
please stop.
No.
Stop talking about cutting our trophy, please.
Oh, it was so funny. I was all about it.
Word.
Anytime Crim does an interview, it makes me miss Rich, though, because Rich and Crim had the best interviews.
They were the best duo.
Oh, they were such a fun duo for interviews.
Oh, gosh.
But no, it was amazing. All about it. Yeah, I mean, the rings, I mean, now Crim and Clay have been fired up on Twitter. They are tweeting nonstop. I mean, again, Empire, I don't know if you want to have that conversation about all-time great right now necessarily, but I mean, you have Crim and Clay now with 3 rings sitting there atop. You're looking at, Karma. You're looking at Scump. You're looking at Formal, probably right there.
That's crazy.
When it comes to winners who can build a team, I mean, I know, but you just can't deny Clay in that respect of being able to build a team from scratch twice and winning champs twice in a row. Like, that is unheard of, and it's
right.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I can get the argument, like, if someone's like, well, Clay's not that good, he's just carried by, by EU, carried by Empire. But at the end of the day, I agree with you. What are you trying to do in the Call of Duty League? You're trying to win, and I mean, the past 2 years, Clay has figured out a way to, like, be incredibly valuable to a team, whether or not he's the best player on it,
It's the
he's really valuable.
Man. Like, what are they bringing, like, I guess, emotionally to that team that keeps them fired up? And that's what Clay and Crim both did for their teams. They know they're not the all-stars of their teams anymore, but they bring that intangible leadership quality to their teams that brings them to those new heights. They can utilize those all-stars to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, like, Clay was putting up numbers, though. Like, his KD was incredible.
Well, there was the oh my, which hardpoint was it? There was the hardpoint where Dallas, like, completely got outslayed, but they won. It
I thought, like, the
against
the
FaZe. It was in the grand finals, it was in the winners finals, right? Map 4. It was Gunrunner. Was that the 239 match? I'm pretty confident where FaZe completely outslayed them. Like, that just shows, like, Clay there in that game, like, had like a 1.14 or something, and everybody else was getting absolutely just smoked. And there is an X factor there with, like, how they're playing, like, against a team like FaZe, who's just, they're out there to slay, and then they expect the slaying to translate into wins. Versus, where Empire played the map better, and even though they got absolutely smoked, it worked out for them. So I found it. Shotzzy went 23-30, ILLeY went 23-30, Hook went 30-30, Crim went 20-35, and Clay went 31-23, and they won by 10. So it's interesting to say the least. Like, like those are the type of situations where, like, all right, yeah, like, they're valuable, this team, to say the least. And No, it's an interesting argument. I mean, is there any debate in your mind that it should have been somebody else
for the MVP?
Yeah, for the Champs MVP.
I honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if they did Shotzzy again, just like doing like a duel.
Yeah,
just because of other numbers. But I'm glad they didn't though, because that would have been kind of boring, you know. And like giving it to Crim, who really did deserve it, but like just showing that like if anyone doubted Crim or Clay, and like really like Brex was saying, like I feel like giving it to Crim means you also gave it to Clay too. You know, like you almost gave it to them both, like that veteran. Yeah, leadership. What was the MVP?
Yeah, I mean throughout their three
built that team. It's the heart of that team.
Yeah,
I mean in champs again, KD's mean very. Yeah. It's three. They played 3 series basically. Mm-hmm. Like there's not that much data, but Clay had a 1.1 KD, Crim had a 0.98, Hook 0.92, ILLeY 0.96, Shotzzy put 1.04. Mm-hmm. I mean Clay was putting up numbers, you know, and so it is something to say. Again, like I said, we all know KD does not tell even a slight majority of the story, but it definitely is interesting to say the least. So
yeah.
I mean, when it comes to FaZe, I mean, does Champs feel like a disappointment for you with how that finals went? I mean, it was a hot 5-1.
That was
a hot 5-1.
Yeah,
it was incredible. I did not. I mean, did anyone? No one probably expected that, you know, but they just were outclassed in that series. Just everything was going wrong for FaZe.
I know. I mean, like again, like it felt like Cellium wasn't having the tournament they needed him to have. I mean, as in especially with the AR, like especially on like Cave and to win those gunfights and like get that map control, and it really wasn't happening for the most part on the event. I mean, I felt like Abezy played potentially his best event of the whole year. I mean, besides like maybe CDL Toronto, but like Abezy was having a great event overall, all things considered too. Mm-hmm. So it's just like Simp played well, but not as well as you'd need Simp to play to probably win a championship, right?
Yeah, it like going into it, you know, talking to you guys, I was putting so much weight on the 1-0 up, you know, but then like I was assuming map trading was going to happen, you know, like, you know, FaZe going to win, Empire's going to win, FaZe going to win. Empire just won everything, and I know
that Dom was the backbreaker. I mean, like if you win that, you have a chance, you know, because
how they held that setup after like not holding a setup forever, it was crazy,
right? You know, because like if you win that Dom and like FaZe had the advantage after the first half, they go into the second half starting on good side up by like what 15
or
ish 20
18
15 somewhere around there, going into starting on good side on Petro, and you lose. Oh, because if you win that,
so bad,
and then they won the hard point, and I think they would have had the advantage in the hard point. So if you win that, then you win the hard point. It's 3-2.
Yeah,
you're gonna be feeling a lot different about going into this S&D than you would have being down 4-1. You know, so going into an S&D 3-2 versus 4-1 is a big difference when you're trying to play a best of 9. Like,
I still don't even like you were hearing it in that Clay's comms, like he was just like, if we like we're gonna win, we just need to hold this. And I'm like, okay, no way, you're down. Like it's not gonna happen. Sure enough, they hold it, and then they went. I'm like, I could not believe it. FaZe just looks so defeated.
Oh man,
their cameras. No one was talking. Abezy just looked almost like pissed at everyone. I mean, you know,
he could win the lottery and he'd still probably look pissed.
But yeah, I like it. It was unfortunate that you know that we didn't get a close game, but I think it was cool to see Empire just dominate too. So
yeah, and I think it was really just more that Empire was just playing really good Call of Duty, and that's better to see than a team winning because you feel like the other team's just playing really, really bad.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
definitely.
So no, I mean, I feel like we can talk about this a lot longer, but I think we're gonna be hitting on these players and teams as we get into our Rostermania conversation.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I mean, unless you got anything else to say, we can go full on in on this Rostermania.
Champs was so 2 days ago.
Champs was so 2 days ago, man. Yeah, dude, we've already deleted. Me and my homies hate Modern Warfare.
Yeah. We hate 5v5.
Me and my homies hate 5v5, dude. But all right, dude, let's let's talk about. Should we do a drop?
Let's
full
do a
send
drop.
with a drop.
Let's do a drop.
I mean, we'll talk about who the best in the game is.
Yeah, who's the best in the game?
Hello, you play to win the game.
We took an audible on the drop. Audible on the drop. That's right. That's right, people. You got bamboozled. Let's go.
Oh, man.
All right.
That was awesome.
All right. Guys, we got a lot of stuff here. This is how this is going to go. So, first of all, this is crazy. 4v4. I mean, before we even get into the template and how we're going to play, like, do our thing here. I mean, today it was announced. 4v4 was announced by the CoD League, and immediately all the pros were like, this is crazy. Oh, yeah, by the way, we've known about this for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What? So this whole time, Hex has been playing us. This rumor, he literally had a meeting about it. I mean, this is what we were talking about. Like, why would Hex make this rumor unless something was actually happening about this?
Yeah.
Right.
So Clay tweeted that, like, yeah, we've actually known about this for a long time now. And so, I mean, now looking back on it, going into champs, you're like, dude, every team knew that they were playing for a 4v4 roster spot. That's some tough news to take.
It is.
I don't know what it is. Like, I mean, Crim tweeted like, yeah, I knew this before everybody else.
Yeah, see, okay, that was weird. He said,
like, the biggest secret.
He said this is the best kept secret in Call of Duty. When I had to relay it to my teammates, they took it well. I'm like, so why does Crim know before his teammates?
So was it because like Hastro was like, yo, should I vote for this? You know, like,
true. Honestly,
should I vote for this, or like, you know, what?
Yeah.
What do I do here?
Yeah. So like maybe not every player knew then. Only
certain players who were asked by their owners,
like Scump and Formal, maybe probably knew. No, Crim,
like
knew, Slasher, TJ apparently, because I feel like he was baiting us.
He was baiting for a while about Rise, and but again, that was the other thing. So with the whole news, I mean, it was announced 4v4, and then Rise replied to the tweet like 4v4, like don't say less.
Yeah, and
Pac-Man replied to that tweet, and like. It sounded at first when I saw that, I'm like, oh, let's go, boys. We're gonna get the expansion team.
Exactly.
We're gonna get them. Yeah. And then ESPN Esports tweeted everything we've heard. There are no expansion teams, and they're not planning on expanding until 2022. Oh. 2022
until they can do a full offline season.
But they're talking about like the end of 2022.
Oh, you think like not the 2021, 2022 season?
No, because because that was what ESPN Esports, like Rex said, is that they wanted to have a full LAN season in the books, which means next year's not going to be a full LAN season.
I see what you're saying. Man, that sucks.
So we'd have 2 full seasons of 4v4 before we even get to expansion teams.
Man,
dude, every AM is punching the air. They're throwing fists.
Again,
like,
I think the big thing you got to be paying attention to is a full offline season, and I think they're estimating it's going to be 2022. It could just be one season 4v4, and let's say COVID is cured, and then we can go full offline after that. Then you get expansion teams. But
I mean, right? Or maybe they're going to count like half seasons. Like this season was a half online season, so then maybe next season is another half, and that counts as one. And then
yeah, something like that could work, but.
No,
I'm being
I feel
optimistic. I'm trying to be optimistic.
So let's. I guess we're all over the place, but let's start with our full-on first opinions of 4v4. I know we've kind of talked about this in the past, about like our thoughts on 5v5 versus 4v4, but I mean, it sounded like the two options that the CoD League had was either stay 5v5 until they're able to get expansion teams, or go 4v4 now and then just see what happens and get expansion teams so they can get expansion teams. I mean, which option to you sounds better, and where are you at with the whole 4v4 debate off the rip? Rex, start us off.
Man, this is so, I mean, eventually, every pro agrees that we should be moving back to 4v4. And this is like one of those tough business decisions where it's like you kind of are like screwing over some of these franchises who are, starting to build with 5v5. But if you're going to eventually go there, you might as well just rip the Band-Aid off now before these teams really get cemented.
Yeah.
So like imagine Empire wins next year as a 5v5, and then the year after that they win. It's like now we're going 4v4. It's like you can't do that now. So I think the only option really is to just rip off the Band-Aid now and do it, or we commit to doing 5v5 for the rest of Call of Duty's history.
It's just like, why this year, not last year? You know, like when everyone was everyone was an unrestricted free agent, and like it's easy to make those rosters. I mean, same where you at.
Yeah, I like, to your point, Rex. I think like I have not seen a single pro or anyone tweet like that they wish it wasn't 4v4. Like,
right?
It's like this must have been like. Honestly, I think the league fully intended to stay 5v5 indefinitely.
I agree.
But like, I'm assuming every team was like, team owners were complaining, team, players were complaining, saying for the league or for Call of Duty to be cultivated, for, Call of Duty long term to be good, it needs to be 4v4. And for some reason, they just said, okay, let's do it right now. But yeah, again, if you're going off of the players who play this game day in and day out competitively, they want 4v4. And so maybe they're just like, you know what? Okay, we'll give it to you, but we can't do expansion teams for another 2 years.
Unless the owners were like, dude, we need to cut down on salaries.
True.
And this is the only reason why.
Yeah. So then maybe the salary cap can be lowered.
I mean, the stars might have just aligned perfectly. If this was all land, then maybe we would be 5v5 for the rest of COD. But like, since it was COVID, things paused. Teams aren't probably making as much money. Money's tight. Let's go 4v4. It kind of helps everybody.
And maybe it was a situation where like the pros were like, hey, owners, we'd rather go 4v4. And I know you'd rather pay only 4 of us as starters. So how about we just go 4v4? But like, again, it's just a weird situation because, I mean, 4v4 puts a lot of players in a really tough spot. And every player, unless you are literally a top, there's 12 teams, a top 24, top 36 player.
Yep.
You are going to be worried about your job. Probably top 24.
Because effectively, if you think about it in just players, if we're going off of the 3 lowest teams, right? Basically, 12 players are eliminated. So Surge, LAG,
Paris.
and then 2/5 of Paris are gone.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of players. And apparently every pro was a prodigy in 4v4, so they're not worried about it. But
every pro,
12 of you are not.
This
gonna be
is
playing.
my year, man.
Yeah,
dude, this is my year. It's finally 4v4, and you remember how good I was at World War II? I was insane.
Not only are you removing 12 players from the current pool, but you also have to think about players like from Team War, Singularity. They're probably going to be picked up too. So it's like you have to be making room for these AMs to be coming on next year. So there's going to be a lot of people who think they're probably going to be on a certain roster that will not be on a roster next year.
I think people are going to be shocked that like they're not getting teams. Like some of these vets who like have been middle of the pack their whole career and they've kind of been in because it's the friendship league are going to be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we got players like Gunless and Looney on the bench. Like you have to imagine they're going to end up somewhere. That's going to take someone else's spot. Like,
yeah.
John coming back.
I don't know if he'll be able to come back, man.
Any of the pros who are currently like bent, like again, I think there was 11 pros or 12 that were sifted through in a lineup or not at some point this year. They're now not.
Yeah.
So those 11 plus another 12, and then any of the top AMs and current subs. That's like 30 players.
It's a lot of people out of a job.
Like,
and a lot of these AMs who came in have been really good, like the best on their teams. So like justifying dropping them is going to be really hard to do. Which means
if
one
you're
of their
OpTic,
vet teammates is going to have to be traded, dropped, or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, like if you're OpTic, I mean, you're not going to drop Teach for Hollow or Draza. Slasher's he's your boy, like there's no way. Like it's not going to happen.
Slasher wants to stay there, but we'll see.
The AMs are the ones that are going to get screwed.
But then Mac,
because of connections.
Do you drop Mac?
How can you drop Mac? You can't.
Do you drop Awakening?
Mac. You can't drop Awakening. Like it would be a crime. It would be a crime.
Unless every Pro Distinct Modern Warfare was a complete like fluke. You know, which I
Exactly.
mean, some pros I obviously do.
Yeah.
Some pros obviously think that.
would just make me so mad. Like then they just want the friendship league. Like, that's all they want. Like it's annoying.
That
Yeah,
is true.
honestly,
No.
You couldn't show up for Modern Warfare. These AMs did. They took your spot. Like you can't be
Yeah,
guaranteed
true.
next year.
Yeah.
the biggest thing, I think we can kind of maybe we can transition the conversation into what the challengers can do and how the challenges can improve the challengers. But
It's gotta be huge.
one thought is maybe this will help pros realize that the AM scene, the top AMs are actually that good. When pro teams have, like when the middle tier pros have to go down to the AM scene and compete as a team of former pros,
Yeah.
and then they're not winning.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe they do. But if they don't, then the pros are like, oh, wait a second.
Like, oh crap.
This wasn't just because Modern Warfare was fluky.
I
You
just
know?
wasn't good.
Yeah. So that's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And Parasite's got to be pissed, by the way.
Absolutely.
This is tough.
Yeah.
No expansion teams, 4v4. He ain't
I
getting the
know.
spot.
Maybe. I mean, if maybe, and this is, hypothesis here, Empire has set up the formula Clayster really has spearheaded the formula of like, get your vets, get these young guys that they can train and like just coach them up on how to do it. No one who's going to really like, butt heads too much with them is the leader of the team. Parasite has proven to be able to do that in the challengers scene.
Yeah, plus
so
the
you can
two-way
look at a
contracts.
team like LA Guerillas, who is possibly going to drop their whole roster, being like, Parasite, we want to bring you pick how you want to form your team to make a winning team.
Yeah.
Because he did it in challengers, and he can
I could see that
emulate
potentially.
what Clayster's done, but he did it in challengers.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Like, that's possible. But I think it would take a team like saying, you're our captain. And is a team going to be willing to do that when there's going to be some pretty big names out there that are going to be out of a team? You know? Where, like, if you're LAG and, like, let's say, for example, Clay is off Empire. Again, this is just an example. We can talk about this more in a second. And then if you're LAG, you're just like, all right, Clay, we're giving you the bag. You build your roster. You know, like, wouldn't they rather have Clay?
Of course, Clay is the one who created
Obviously.
that formula. Clay is the god of creating that formula and how to win like that. So,
Yeah,
like,
but the bigger thing
Clay,
is
of course,
it's
will
more
get picked
about
up.
Yeah, I guess it's more about how Rostermania is going to sift down the ladder. Like, is Clay going to go straight to LAG, or is going to Clay try to find his spot on? Oh, can I join FaZe? Oh, I can't. Can I join Huntsman? Oh, I can't. Can I join New York? Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
Can I join Mutineers? Oh, I can't. You know, like, is that going to how it's going to sift down, or is he going to go straight to LAG, get the bag, and then build his team? You know, like, is how's it going to play out?
I think he'll get the bag and build his team. I mean, he knows how to do it now. He's done it twice.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, I think
He'll
it's pretty-
pick up, watch him get Prestinni and Arcitys again.
It'd be interesting. It's possible.
I know.
I mean, Sam, where you at with it?
No, yeah, there's so many things that could happen. I mean, like my like
Nice.
Like, I know. I'm like whatever. But like this whole day, I just been thinking like you just have to like go through scenarios in your head like this happens and this happens and this player drops and then this player. It's wild.
There's so many scenarios. I mean, it's infinite amount of scenarios.
Infinite amount of scenarios. But to the whole challenger scene point,
Yeah,
like,
let's bring it back to challengers.
yeah, challengers has to be done so well, and I think we can all agree like we were impressed with what they did this year.
It was a good start.
It was a good start, but they need to do that, but more.
A lot.
They have to do more coverage. They have to do more, even as simple things as like better graphics on stream, right?
Interviews, content.
Like because there's gonna be a lot of big names playing in a challenger scene now, and
Yeah.
like that needs to have coverage.
Do they start? I want to go. I want to hop right into it. Do they start an amateur league?
Here's the tough one with that formula, at least in Overwatch, is not really proven to be fruitful. And I don't know if I've really seen it do well in any esport because not enough people watch. No one cares so much as you think they would. And COD, I feel like it could be a different story.
Yeah,
Because we have a
potentially.
lot of names going back there. So who knows? But I just don't know how financially viable it is going to be for teams to get involved in it like that.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like as extensive. I don't know what Overwatch is like, but I would imagine it could work pretty well. And like again, I think we talked about this a little bit with Shift, but like if they just brought in that CWL literal same formula where you have the top 16 teams in pro points, qualify for the league, and they have like a month-long league or whatever, and then that's season 1, and you have like 3 seasons in a year. It could work pretty well, and like it could encourage esports orgs to rejoin into the scene, because there's actually like an opportunity to like have like consistent coverage, and it could be pretty interesting to me, I think.
Do you think there should be a point where AMs can play pro teams too? Like,
I mean, again,
I don't
think the pro teams are ever going to let it happen unless
it's
it's like
a risk.
Unless it's once a year, like a US Open, like what golf does. Like one time a year, you have a US Open where the AMs can hop into a pool play with the pro teams, and then qualify for a bracket that way. But I'd be surprised.
That would be kind of a risk, is like watch some Singularity goes in and just beats a lot of these pro teams.
But what's the worst case scenario?
It really kind of just like makes a mockery of the league.
Now they're signed by the pros. Like then LAG is going to drop their whole roster, pick up Singularity. Like, I don't know. It's worst case scenario. It sifts through the crap, and like you now know for a fact who the best players are. I think it would be really, really fun.
That's true, but then your org gets made fun of in a way too.
Then they're smart and they pick up the better team.
But they got contracts that the plays they have already on. So it's like
not when they terminate them.
They just outright terminate. No.
It would be fun. Don't get me wrong. It would definitely be fun. I just don't know how.
I feel like there's a way to make it work. I don't know.
Probably.
I mean, another question is like, okay, if they don't do a league, I mean, either way, like maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I mean, is there a world where they take that extra money, like they force teams to, like, all right, well, now that you're not paying a starting player, you do have to pay an academy team. You have to this year.
That would be cool too. Like forced academy teams where it's like, yeah, it's forced, but it would create more storylines too. Like,
yeah,
like,
and more for like general managers to do. And like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would really enjoy it, because what was so weird to me like this year was like you'd have like the FaZe Academy team, but there's no other academy team. Like Rokkr had an academy team, but it really wasn't there. Like,
see, I agree. And like, I think another thing is like, okay, and in a world where the amateur scene continues to increase its amount of coverage that it gets, like, I mean, in the same light, like if you're forcing teams to have academy teams, hopefully down the line, like those academy teams, get they're going to get content made about them by the teams themselves, by the orgs. And like, I think overall it creates a good snowball effect and like incentive to continue to play in the AM scene as a whole. Like if you can join the Huntsmen on an academy as an academy team, you're going to want to do that.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and just the fact that Hex and like the Huntsmen are in it will give that challenger scene a lot of views. People will watch it more, depending who's on that team too. Imagine, that's where we see some great players like Prestinni and John or whoever and on those teams.
That the Huntsman team would have a good academy team, and I think it would draw viewership.
Yeah,
like I'm sure I would imagine Hex would be very happy to have Parasite as his captain of his academy team.
Yeah. Also, fantastic practice too for their pro team.
Yeah, guaranteed scrims.
Imagine having a guaranteed schedule of, okay, you're playing the academy team here. I don't know.
Show us your S&D strats.
Especially for S&Ds, yeah.
So it could play in a different way. Like if they had like a salary cap for academy teams of $50K. So like what that roster spot would have costed, that could be pretty interesting.
Definitely.
And like help, if you were outside the top, I don't know how many AMs even had a salary this year. I mean, certain orgs gave them something for playing underneath them for certain tournaments, but we don't really know how much that was.
Yeah.
Like, it's just hard to say. Like, I'm sure War and Singularity were getting something, but we don't really know otherwise.
Because like you really need to have like the best AMs need to be able to live off that income,
at least pay rent.
Because if you can't, as like the best AM in the scene, like pay your bills, how can you convince yourself to try to go pro? Why are you gonna try even harder than like you are? Because it's just gonna be impossible. So like you need to somehow create a system where these top AMs, whether that's through the orgs, through the academy teams, are paying them, or the prize pool is, whatever it is, like there needs to be a reason why these top AMs can, stay consistent. and then but that I feel like that's going to be like a big thing there. But because I personally,
I agree.
Like I don't know where they're at. Like I don't know if Timor, if they're like all taking personal losses, or if they're or if they are getting stipend. I have no idea. But
well,
like
they're getting winnings, but
yes, yeah,
right. Well, yeah, because of winnings, they're paying rent. But
definitely,
like that's a bigger thing. I agree with you. And again, if you attach those names, content's going to be made about the Am scene, and like there's more and more opportunities. I think it's worth forcing the teams to have an academy team. In Call of Duty, it gets viewership, more than Overwatch, because it's been created to get views over the past. I mean, I know that like the AM finals only had like maybe 5,000 to 7,000 people watching it or so, maybe at max 10,000 people watching. But I mean, they barely advertised it the whole year. Nobody really knew what it was. It wasn't the most organized event ever,
Yeah, it has to be something that's easy to follow. I think that's the big problem with some of these. It's like it needs to be easy to follow, and like again, having noticeable names, content about them, and just good coverage, casting of it as well.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And like on their website, if there was like bios of the top AM players, and like they continually were trying to add and update the bios, and like maybe each player had like a little video bio of him, you have them send a video bio, like that'd be cool. Like I feel like there's ways to like create content around the AM scene that could be really, really interesting from the CoD League that I would love to see in the future, and hopefully that stems from like a lack of a starting roster spot that can kind of like stir the pot with the money. Hopefully,
absolutely.
Yeah. But I think it really starts with simplifying it, so it's easy to understand.
I agree.
Literally, like it's weird to say. It's like you have your like franchise, like pro league team, and then we just need to know the academy teams, and then everybody else. Like it's hard. It's like we need them to kind of not be so good.
Yeah, and like it just needs to be on the web, like the CoD League website, easy to access, links to their social medias, and like. About as simple as that, you know?
And like, even to like, you should allow them to like be able to pick up like a already established, like, say London's academy team wants to pick up Timor. Like, maybe it's like London Academy is sponsoring team, like, I don't know, like,
there could be different ways to work with it.
Yeah, like, maybe
but then you don't want them just to always just snipe the best 5, but unless that's just inevitably going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I guess like for more like if like the top AM orgs are worried about losing their spot.
Wait, how does it work in Overwatch, Rex? Do the academy teams play in its own league?
Yeah, so there's no so it's not like challengers or like anybody can be in it. It's like its own league. So like you have your like amateur players who are on their respective academy teams. And that's how like it's simplified like that and easy to follow.
Makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, that makes it easier to follow for sure.
Yeah, but it doesn't get a lot of views. It really it's not.
Yeah,
but I think the epicness.
I feel like you need the like orgs that like come out of nowhere. Like
we can literally, if us 4 friends could potentially qualify tomorrow. Because it's Black Ops Cold War just came out, and I could qualify for the first season of the Amateur Challengers League. January 1st.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
If I have enough pro points, which is what it used to be.
Yeah, because then like you get rid of that like quote unquote friendship league again. Like you wouldn't be stuck in like this like only the friends get picked up to the academy teams. Yeah, like it truly is like if you are good, you're gonna win. Yeah,
and I think that interests people inherently, and like it's what the COD League knows. So I'm 100% like COD fans know how that works. Yeah. You have pro points, you qualify. Anyone who's followed competitive COD for more than like a few months before this year would know that. So that is interesting to say the least. So I think we leave it there for now. We'll definitely talk more about the hopeful format of the amateur scene moving forward when we get more information, but we just don't have any more information about it right now. I mean, I think we're kind of all on the same page with hopefully they create more structure for it heading into next year, especially since
it's going to be huge.
It's going to be hopefully be pretty big and probably online for majority, if not all of next year.
Most likely.
So they have a lot of opportunity because it's more accessible for them to broadcast and stuff right now. So anyway, I'm pretty excited.
Yes.
Let's finally play our game.
Oh,
all right,
man.
And this game is more than just a game. It's just full on predictions.
It's real life.
So we are predicting Rostermania's Part 1, the beginning of Rostermania, Chapter 1. Chapter 1 of Rostermania.
Yeah.
So we're going to be predicting what players are going to be staying on teams, what players are going to be leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be because they're the fourth guy or they're the odd man out on a roster of 5 and that roster of 4 is staying. Or we could say only one guy on this team is staying, the rest are leaving.
Yeah.
And then after we start learning more about this, the schedule, I guess maybe we should talk about the schedule for Rostermania real quick. The schedule, I got to pull it up real quick, unless you have it right there.
Yep. So September 6th is...
Oh, there we go.
The first date.
Yeah, so by September 6th, teams have to have their players either signed or like extended or not extended.
Yes.
So by September 6th, which is a week from today, all teams have to have decided whether or not this player is staying on the team or not.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're going to be signed to this team or not.
Yeah.
And then on September 13th at midnight, aka September 14th at
morning.
12 a.m.
12 a.m.
All the contracts are terminated that have not been extended, and they are now unrestricted free agents.
Mm-hmm.
So the big debate is whether or not teams are going to be willing to let players contracts just poof disappear, or whether or not they're going to try to sign them and then trade them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not exactly sure how that plays out with like how much say the players have in being extended.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine it sounds like it's a team option, which isn't ideal for the players.
Yeah, definitely weird, but
so there could be a lot of situations where a team ends up saying we're going to extend this guy. We're not going to let him be an unrestricted free agent because we want to hopefully trade him or have him get bought out.
AKA Octane on Surge.
AKA Octane, like free Octane, or like Gunless with Huntsmen. Like, what are they going to do with Gunless? Are they going to let him walk? Or are they going to try to trade him?
Yeah,
it's hard to say. And again, trade. When I just want to clarify, when we're saying benched is different from bought out. Bought out is different from trade. Trade is different from cut.
Yeah.
It's like these are all different things, with how the contracts play out. But it all does mean that they're not playing on that same team. So, we'll try to be clear with that when we're talking about all this and like what do you potentially expect to happen when we're talking about in each individual player. So after that rant, sorry guys out there for that rant, but here's the sheet we're going to be going off of. You guys are seeing here. We've got staying and leaving on the sheet. Okay, so we're going to go down the list. We tried to prioritize off the teams that we thought maybe would keep the most amount of players or have an interesting conversation, and then go down to the chaos at the bottom. So we'll go from there and start it off. What is up, everybody? Sorry for the hard edit, but this is Josh from the future talking. So we had about 10 minutes or so of Dallas Empire Rostermania talk, but that's useless now because Clayster just announced that he is a restricted free agent for 2021 for Black Ops Cold War. And I was in the middle of editing this video. I was actually almost done with editing the podcast. And I checked Twitter, and of course I see it. There was about 10 minutes of us talking about Dallas Empire here, which is basically useless now. But, spoiler alert, we all thought Clayster was going to be the one that get dropped. Rex basically thought there was a chance that maybe they all just split up and went their own ways to create kind of some of their own teams. But we all kind of came to the consensus that we thought it's pretty likely that Clayster is the one that gets dropped. And that's where we're at. So we're going to skip forward a little bit to the end of that conversation and into the Chicago Huntsman's conversation. So enjoy the rest of the podcast. So right now, I think we're all in agreement that Clay might leave, but Rex thinks this thing could completely blow up and there could be like a new 3 or 4. There could be like 3 new players in Dallas next year.
Of course. It's easier to see Clayster leaving because Clayster, it feels like you can adapt anywhere, whereas Crimsix not so much. But I think Clayster is the better leader for that team to stay there with Shotzzy.
I also agree. So it actually is tough.
Crim just needs to retire.
What decision?
Oh, wow.
I'm saying just that
in the best way possible.
You don't need to, but it would help
simplify things here, man.
Crim retires and becomes a coach.
We're just talking about like best, like most likely. Again, just because we predicted it's the most likely, there's so many other factors that we don't know behind the scenes. Yeah. It could be like it could be one sentence in his contract that's like holding something up that screws up our whole prediction. It could be anything. But let's move on to FaZe for now, or else we're never going to get this thing done.
I know.
All right, let's move down to FaZe. This is a tough, I feel like the easy out here is Major Maniac, right? The easy out is Major Maniac.
Yeah, that's the low hanging
The cop
fruit.
out. Is that what you actually believe? Is Simp and Abezy still a duo?
I feel like Simp and Abezy aren't a duo anymore.
Aren't?
I don't think they
I
are.
think Simp and Cell are.
See, that's what I'm wondering. It feels maybe like Simp and Cell are a duo.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe we're just because we're getting weird vibes at this point. Maybe it's not.
Know.
Maybe that's why Abezy's just always pissed because the past month he's known that he's going to get dropped.
Maybe Priesta.
You can't drop
Priest-
Abezy. Nah.
Does Priesta go to OpTic?
I should say, does Priesta have any strong ties with any of these guys?
I mean, he definitely does. He likes him.
yeah.
But Priesta, who doesn't like Priesta?
Oh yeah, no, Priesta's probably like one of the best teammates.
He's the most
ever.
likable dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I could see Priesta going to OpTic with Kenny
And
Tej,
Slasher.
and Slasher.
I could see it. Do you think Simp and them are being like, we want a veteran on our team again?
And then you pick up Clay.
And then I don't think Clay will go to FaZe, but
Yeah. How crazy would it be if Simp and Clay reunite? That'd be wild.
I don't know. But again, like, it's just, I mean, when you have 5 and like Dad, I mean, again, if you're trying to bring in someone now, it's like you can't, you have to drop 2 people.
I know.
Like,
watch Clayster get Shotzzy, Simp, and Abezy, I guess.
Bro.
Good luck.
Dude, imagine.
Simp ain't leaving FaZe. That's just not happening.
No. I feel like Simp and Celium are not leaving FaZe.
Abezy, I feel like Abezy's locked to stay.
Why do you
I
think
think
they're
so.
so committed to FaZe? Why do you think they care so much about FaZe?
Contracts.
Again, like there's
It's
I guess-
because FaZe is going to
like
renew their contracts.
like
Okay.
I feel like players don't have as much say as we might
unless
think.
a team is willing to pay the
Yeah.
buyout
Yes.
for them. So somebody has to
Yeah.
want them so
Mhm.
bad
Yeah.
Yeah.
that they're willing to pay a buyout.
Because you kind of have to put the players' emotions aside. Like they don't have a lot. Like before, they can do anything they want to do.
Unless it works out where a team can just swap player for
Yes.
player and then
Yeah.
we're in good shape.
Yeah.
Like if in a situation where,
Mm-hmm.
I'll save it for later, but like in a situation where Huntsman is trying to make an ad and they swap
Yeah.
Dashy for Gunless
Mhm.
off-season trade.
Like right now, I'm thinking they're pouring so much money into Simp right now. FaZe is. Simp is not leaving.
Yeah.
I think the same
And they've
thing
been
with
good.
I think the same thing with Celium too.
Oh, don't get too far ahead here, Rex. Calm down.
That's just an easy one.
So, all right, let's talk about FaZe. So, what's your prediction then officially, Sam?
I'm gonna say Simp, Cell.
I think Priesta might leave.
And Major are staying. I think Priesta and Abezy leave.
Really?
I changed mine.
Unless Abezy.
All right, so we're in the same boat then, Rex.
Abezy's weird for me, man.
Abezy's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, does Abezy want to be his own man? Like,
Mhm.
because again, I could see him being annoyed that people just overshadow him because of Simp.
Yeah.
Or like in
Right.
BO4, I mean, Abezy was nasty, and then at the end of this year, Abezy was nasty.
I know.
He was crazy. Yeah.
Abezy was better than Simp in the end of this year.
Because you think like, what if
Yeah.
like Kenny Priesta join Octane at Surge?
Kenny, Priesta, Octane,
Kenny Priesta Octane, and then they get I don't know.
Enable.
Enable.
It's just that 4.
Yeah. I don't know,
Dashy.
because like, don't you think Priesta and like probably
That's
thoroughly
what
enjoyed?
Priesta has. Priesta has infinite options,
Yeah,
and it feels
yeah.
like he's friends with everyone in the league.
I know.
So like, I feel like Priesta, he's very likely to leave. Major Maniac, I feel like he's gonna want to stay at all costs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he is gonna hold on with everything in him, and they might just be like, okay, cool. You're our main AR, fine.
yeah. So
You
like,
know.
it might still work out for Major.
Yeah.
But again, there's a world where Major dips, and then it's the Priesta, Abezy, Cell, and Simp stay, and
That
that's
is
just
true.
kind of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all right, well, I'm gonna go with Priesta and Major for now. I don't love it. I don't love it. So let's move on to the Huntsman and talk about this. All right, Huntsman. Rex, explain yourself.
Scump, for obvious reasons, is staying. You have to imagine formulas and less formal leaves by choice. And then I think Prestinni is going to be the obvious choice to who's going to be booted off that team. Will Arcitys go with him? It's unknown. Some people think, I think people say, I am always a duo with my brother, but what if Prestinni can't get a team? Prestinni goes to Challengers. Arcitys is not going to follow him there.
Yeah.
I'm for sure Scump, Prestinni, I think that's just a guaranteed.
Scump, Formal, and Envoy are locks.
I'm
locks.
I'm a firm believer Arcitys and Prestinni are a duo. I'm a firm believer. I think this is a Scump, Formal, Envoy stay, and then I think Arcitys leaves with Prestinni. That's what I think.
It's really likely. Again, it's just why would the brothers go out of their way this far to team together, and then 2-3 months later, nope, we're not anymore.
There just seems to be a connection deeper than we might think with those two.
I mean, I think there definitely is,
weird.
but where our team's gonna take Prestinni, I guess they will, but will those teams seem good enough to Arcitys to be worth it? Are they gonna end up they can team together, but it's gonna be
and then a third place at champs, back to back. That's pretty freaking good.
His stock is high for sure.
I guess.
And
I'm
they
maybe
finished fourth at champs in World War II.
I am underestimating Prestinni. You're right. I'm not giving Prestinni enough credit.
Rex underestimating Prestinni. Come on, man.
I know. I actually feel bad.
United.
I am underestimating. He's better than we give him credit for sure.
Yeah, so I feel like Arcitys and Prestinni are gonna leave, but Arcitys seems to really like his time at Huntsmen.
How about Clayster, Arcitys, Prestinni, and
reunite
Gunless?
No.
Oh my word!
I don't know how that'll work.
Yes!
Imagine
the United Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be actually. I don't think Gunless and Clayster ever played together, but
no, they didn't. It was the trade.
Yeah, I mean that would be dope. I just don't know how Gunless and Clay would get along because we know how Gunless is.
Oh yeah, it could be a problem.
It could be a huge problem, but it'd be kind of cool to see though.
What team would that be
Clay
on?
Again? I think Clay may have the
LAG?
highest especially for a lot of teams they're gonna want him.
They're all dropped.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
What do you say, Rex?
Sorry.
Every team's gonna want Clay because Clay knows how to build these teams to win champs. So that's what Clay is gonna do.
LAG.
That would be so weird.
That'd be so weird, dude.
It's gonna be weird in my head if LAG or like Paris have a nasty roster.
I know. It's whoa, these guys just flipped.
Yeah,
I could see LAG getting a nasty roster.
For sure. I mean, it's Los Angeles. All it takes is they were late to the party. They joined late and they got behind on Rostermania last year.
That's for sure.
They're LA. Teams want to play for them,
and they have money. So
yeah, they're owned by the guy who owns the LA Rams. They have money.
Yeah,
that's facts. So it is interesting. I think we're on board here with Arcitys, Prestinni, wherever they go is going to be interesting.
Definitely.
Early prediction for who they if Arcitys and Prestinni left, who would they bring in? Early prediction? Rex? Sam?
Dashy.
That would be pretty interesting.
Scum, Formal, Envoy. I mean, I could see Priesta. Abezy. I could see Abezy
that would
coming
be fun.
Oh, dude. Abezy on that squad, that would be sick.
That's what they need too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Oh, really? They need a flex. They need to fill Arcity's void of a flex.
Dashy would be a good flex.
Dashy could maybe make, but Dashy wants to be a main AR.
He is a main arm. Yeah, that's true.
Priesta. That's the play.
Priesta would be a nasty thing too.
Yeah, Priesta.
Man, dude, there's so many possibilities. It's so exciting.
Hook.
It really is. Ooh. Well, there's no way Hook leaves without.
No.
Yeah, there's no way. Okay.
Anyway, LA OpTic, let's go. Again, we can just
I know
think about awesome
everything.
things.
This could go on for 10
This could
hours.
go on for. I mean, Slasher's staying. That's a fact. We all know that. Slasher's staying. I think Kenny's for sure staying. I think Slasher, Kenny, and Tej is a lock to stay.
You think Tej is a lock?
I think he's a lock.
But how much does Slasher like Tej?
I think he likes Tej.
Didn't
I think
they
Slasher
talk
just
about
sees
wanting
Dashy
to-
as the problem.
Yeah, but does Tej still want to duo with Dashy? Tej wanted to keep Dashy in. Slasher didn't. Slasher's not playing with Dash anymore.
Yeah.
Tej
leaving?
was upset.
Chino's leaving.
Chino's not
Are we
even on the
counting
main
subs?
roster. No, bro.
Do you think Kenny's locked?
We're not counting subs? We
No.
Do you think
Cubs
Kenny's locked
is
on
a
that team?
cop out. They still have a 5-man roster. They still have draws on Hollow.
I know. What?
It's gonna
Think
be
Kenny's
Hollow or
locked?
something.
I think Kenny's a lock with Slasher.
Think so?
I think.
I'm just wondering if like Kenny like would want to leave for.
Yeah, again, but they're gonna get renewed. It's gonna be a tough situation where like the right team would have to really want Kenny,
Mhm.
and I don't know if Kenny's gonna be down. And I'd imagine he likes LA. Like
He might like Slasher too as a.
I think he does. I mean, I think they're locks.
I think
Draza and Hollow are leaving, which sucks for Draza and Hollow real bad.
I'm not convinced TJ is locked for some reason.
I mean, I think he's a
It'll be
lock.
hard because like
It's just options. It's like
yeah.
with
Bro.
guys who are on the fringe like that, teams are better off signing them, letting them re-sign, and then going from there.
Here's what's gonna happen with LA OpTic. It's gonna be the Oak Boys. It's gonna be Enable, JCap, and I don't know, Slacked, and whoever else is on that team, and TJ.
You think it's gonna be their starting roster?
Who does Mud Dog like? Because that's who he's taking. I'm serious. Like, I don't think Slasher wants to stay on OpTic. I have a feeling they're not going to force him to. And
Oh, boys, where's my hat?
you
Yeah,
you
Tej-
think Kenny and Tej? I don't think they like Slasher. I don't think Slasher liked any of his teammates, other than Hollow and
What?
Draza. He's probably like okay with.
I think he likes Kenny a lot.
I think, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Kenny would
Maybe
be someone
he'll
like
keep-
who's willing to like take Slasher's criticism.
Yeah, but Slasher wants a team that can put in the work, and like Slasher.
I mean,
wants
Kenny's a
team.
grinder.
Was he a grinder this year?
I think he was.
If he wasn't sure.
I mean, this
he'll
year, maybe
stay.
not.
I didn't see it really with Kenny this year, and like Slasher's gonna be upset about that. I feel.
Dude, but we saw Texas Kenny, man. OpTic's hyped. They're gonna try to keep this roster at least somewhat together now that they're on the up and up.
That is true. Honestly.
In their heads, they think they could have been a top 4 team if they would have been in Texas the whole year.
Mhm.
Maybe, but what does that mean for the AMs?
They're screwed.
And Tej was
They're screwed, dude.
and Tej was bad like most of the year until champs, and so I don't know.
Right.
And Draza and Hollow are the ones who showed up and kind of saved that team a little bit. And I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like any of this.
All this is just uncomfortable.
No, yeah, I feel that. But let's move on again. Let's go to the Ravens then. This is an interesting one. I mean,
I think
Wuskins,
Wuskins and Skrapz are.
they have to stay.
Yeah.
They have to.
The question is, did Shawnee and Zero
Did
do
Shawnee and
enough?
Zero? Yeah, that's the bigger question. I mean, what do you guys think, Sam? What do you think?
The Wuskins and Skrapz for
Is
sure.
Dylan a lock?
I don't think Dylan's a lock.
I don't think he is either. Dude, the
I
whole
don't think he
roster
did
mania,
enough.
these teams are going to be so uprooted and tossed around. It's going to be no semblance of what we saw last year, other than Huntsman being probably relatively the same, and maybe Empire.
I think there'll be a lot of trios that stay together.
Will
I
they
think there's
stay
gonna
in
be
the
a
same
handful of
org, though?
trios.
I don't know, man.
I almost wonder if it's going to be Wuskins, Skrapz, and Zero, and then Shawnee and Dylan are not locks.
I think Wuskins, Scrap. I think the roster might just end up being Wuskins, Scrap, Zero, Dylan.
You think so?
But Shawnee might stay on the roster as like a sub.
Because like you got to think these EU teams want to pick up some of the Team War guys. You know.
The whole
Oh,
Ravens
yeah.
roster gets dropped.
I mean, Paris and Ravens could. It's tough to say.
Yeah. Okay. So.
But again, the players have to like them,
I know. Yeah.
and the players have to have probably played with them in the past.
I understand Shawnee
I think
did a
Dylan stay.
lot, but I don't know if Shawnee did enough to cement himself.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, Shawnee's been on and off for pro teams for the past like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like forever. So, yeah, I'm gonna go. I think their roster might end up just being Weskin, Scraps, Dylan, Zero.
And they're probably thinking Dylan on a trainer
On a Black
game
Op game is gonna be a beast,
is going to be amazing. So that is definitely a possibility.
and Weskin Scraps is gonna be back to his slaying god self,
Mhm.
and then Zero and Weskin are there chilling.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
But there's a world where they blow that roster up. So who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
But after a top 4 finish, I'd imagine you want to keep your core together.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to stick with the 4 staying. So, all right. Well, let's keep going. I mean, again, are we just assuming that all subs are leaving? Or
yes.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, like Chino, Rated, Joe, like...
I'm not even talking about
I think we have
subs.
Jerd.
Yeah.
It's too much. Like Dashy's like Dashy.
Yeah,
could go back
General,
onto
like
OpTic.
all of these guys, like we're just assuming they're leaving or going to go play in the Am Scene, or do they
or just
two-way
like,
contracts?
Yeah.
Nah, General's going to become an assistant coach.
I mean, again, like if you're a player, you're trying to stay on the Huntsman in any way you can.
Yes.
Especially with how their content's killing it right now. But
yeah, definitely.
all right, anyway, let's keep going. I feel pretty good about that Ravens thing overall. Let's go to New York then. New York Subliners.
Zuma and Attach.
They're staying.
They're staying.
They're staying. Zuma Attach is staying.
Accuracy's gone.
I think Zuma and Attach are staying. Accuracy. Is Temp gone again? See, but again,
Temp is overrated.
I don't know, man.
Do they keep Mac, Attach, Zuma, and then just boot the other two?
I don't know.
Does Mac stay on this team? That's
He should. That's the thing. He should. I don't know. I just don't. Is the league a friendship league or is it not?
And how do these guys feel about him? Like, it's just impossible for us to actually know. You know, like we don't know. We don't know if Attach and Mac are friends. You know,
Mac carried that team out of the ashes to actually be somewhat good, and to get rid of him would just be terrible.
It's always a safe bet to assume Attach and Zuma are going to stay together.
Okay. I'm gonna say that Zuma, Attach, and Mac are staying, and I think Accuracy and Temp are gone, and then they bring in a main AR. Who that would be, I don't know. I don't think Accuracy's good enough to be their main AR.
I don't think that team's good enough.
I don't know, but do they believe that?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just not sure. Again, like, you know, Accuracy was with Temp at Splice in BO4. And then, you know, before that he was on TK with Enable, Pharaoh, and Kenny. I feel like, maybe Accuracy leaves. Accuracy, Temp is a tough one. I honestly don't know. I feel like it might be a safe bet. I'm going to say all 3 of them leave. Accuracy, Temp, and Mac.
That's not too crazy, honestly.
Because, I mean, again, I'm not sure how the contracts worked with, like, Mac, with, like, guys who were signed mid-season. If they were the exact same contract that the other guys were signing, or if there was differences, like they were, like, 1-year contracts or, like, you know, just play out to the rest of the year type situation. Like, are there 1-and-1s with guys who signed mid-season? I don't know. We don't know that for sure. I just feel like I'm not convinced Mac's staying.
I'm not really too either, but I'm putting him on staying.
You're putting him on staying?
I think so.
Oh, man. Rex, any other thoughts?
Such a
Bro, this whole
toss-up.
thing, I'm just getting pissed off.
It's impossible. I mean, again, it's as much for fun as it is for, like, research and getting our brains going a little bit here, like heading into the off season. I mean, again, there's so many variables. With how this game play, are players gonna, you know, play how that works? Oh, side note, I should have mentioned this in the news section, but the multiplayer launch is this week for the multiplayer reveal for Black Ops Cold Wars this week, and Maven announced that he said he's going to it, which means they're having people there, which means there's gonna be like gameplay, like something. Why is he going?
Weird.
So he must be casting something then that's happening there, right?
Yeah.
So what's happening there? You know, that is something I want to talk about in the news. I forgot to add it to our sheet. So now that we're an hour, whatever in, people could be hearing that. But let's move on with the Mutineers then. Rex, thoughts on Mutineers?
I think staying is going to be, at least Awakening and Frosty.
Oh, for real? Oh, interesting.
Wait, what?
I think Frosty's the leader
Skies
of that team.
and Pharaoh are guaranteed to stay.
I think Sky's fair awakening.
Sky, I mean, I could throw Skies in there too. I feel like Frosty's the leader of that team, and they're gonna want to keep their leader. That's why I say Frosty's staying. And Awakening was the best player on their team.
I feel like Skies and Pharaoh are the first two.
I think Skies, Pharaoh, Frosty stay.
I was just gonna say I might change mine to Skies, Pharaoh, Frosty.
Awakening. I wouldn't be surprised if Awakening. I mean, their team could very well be Skies, Pharaoh, Frosty, Awakening.
There's no way Havoc stays.
Yeah, I don't
There's
think
no
Havoc.
No way Havoc stays. Yeah,
And
that's just not happening.
I'm gonna keep Skies in there as well as staying.
You have to. Yeah. But you don't have Pharaoh. What are you doing with Pharaoh then?
Bro, I don't know. This is their roster then.
Yeah, Skies, Pharaoh, Frosty, Awakening.
Awakening, Frosty, Skies, Pharaoh.
That is
I mean,
very
again, that could be a good team.
No, absolutely it could.
It's hard to say. I mean, again, we don't know how these guys, like how Awakening and Frosty are going to acclimate. I mean, Frosty played on Black Ops 4.
Either like they can get rid of Frosty, then like pick up another like leader, but that's what they need is someone who can lead the team, and Frosty's that guy right now. So,
yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can see a world where it's only Skies and Pharaoh who stay. There's also a world where none of them stay, and like it's just a whole new 5 or a whole new 4.
You think they get rid of Awakening?
I'd be surprised, but I think there's a world where like they all find different opportunities. And
Dude, you give no credit to any of the rookies that came in and saved their teams.
no, it's not about them. It's about what the org is going to want to do with their roster. And if they see opportunities with all of these other guys leaving other teams, then maybe they try something else. If like big brand guys want to head to Florida, which is possible.
That's what they've done in the past, but I hope they would wise up and think like these guys came in and kind of dominated for our team. How can we get rid of them?
No, agreed. That's
just a
why
slap
I'd
in the
imagine
face to
Skies
them.
Pharaoh. I'd imagine Skies and Pharaoh for sure stay. I'm
Why not
convinced
Awakening?
because it depends whether or not the players themselves are sold on Awakening and wanting to play with them as a teammate, like
So
season
stupid
long.
if they don't. He saved their team. He was great.
I mean, likely Awakening would stay.
It is what it is. The friendship
I just
league.
don't. I mean, I don't know. Man, maybe Awakening stays. I don't know what else Awakening would do. If you're going off the argument that orgs are going to sign the 1+1, and if they have a 1+1, then they're going to sign the 1+1, and I'm not sure if anyone else is going to want him.
Here's the thing. I don't even
Because
think
no
you're
one else knows
totally
who he
wrong.
is.
I don't even think you're totally wrong about having Awakening leaving because I could see it too. But it just makes me mad putting him there because he was so good for his team that I just won't do it. It's just like.
No,
it's
but
just a
again,
slap in the face.
like I
It's
said,
just-
solely off the contract conversation, they're gonna put a 1+1 on him. They're gonna sign him because duh, and they're gonna and if they don't want him, they try to trade him. But I don't know if he's gonna get traded. So there could be a world where he ends up as a two-way player, which a two-way player is just being an AM on salary at this point. So that's possible. So I think he stays, but I'm not convinced that that's gonna be a starting lineup. All right, Rokkr, this is a tough one. Does GodRx stay?
Dude.
It's hard to imagine.
You can't have God or X and Assault on the same team.
If GodRx stays, a lot of the other players are going to be leaving.
Yes, that is correct.
If
Does
I had
silly
to guess,
Assault Alex stay?
I could see Alex staying. I could see Exceed, a Sim leaving.
I'm adding GodRx to this list because he deserves it.
You're right, he does. GodRx is out, unfortunately.
How crazy would that be though if it was just God or X staying like, all right, let's build around God or X.
That would be funny, man.
They are.
That would be
they
funny.
drop everyone
They would
else.
have to fire. They would have to fire their coach. They would have to you would have to
I
get rid
know.
of a lot of people there.
I'd imagine
it's
Silly
very
Assault and
likely.
Alex stay.
I'm not even sure if Silly stays.
I'm not even
But
sure
Silly
Silly
and
stays
Assault-
either, but
But
they
Silly
built
and
it
Assault
with that in
teamed.
mind. But
Yeah.
I know, but like to me, it's Assault and Alex for sure.
I mean, based off like talent, for sure you have to keep Assault and Alex.
ASIM I think is gone.
Asim's gone.
Exceed is gone.
I don't think it's the fact that ASIM's gone. I think ASIM might stay.
He went
Because
like
I
9
think
and
they like him.
28 at Champs.
I think they like him. Yeah, but again, they like him, and he was good at Black Ops 4. He was really good at Black Ops 4.
Wasn't good at this game though.
well, okay, we're going into a Black Ops game though, and that's the thing.
He wasn't even bad at this game. He did do some stuff, but
Exactly. I think we're hating a little bit too much. I actually think Sim might stay.
But I think he wasn't so good that like you're gonna get rid of like. He doesn't seem so good that he's safe. Like that's why I have to put him in leaving. You're locking in. They're gonna keep the Silly Assault Alex Asim roster. You think they're gonna keep that?
They're not. That's not gonna be their starting roster though. But the one's gonna be playing as a 2-way player.
Okay.
So again, this is how I have to come into this. You have to come into this with is that, if a team's letting them walk, that means they for sure found a better replacement, like early on. Like this week, like, all right, Assault and Silly, and Assault and Alex, like, all right, who do you find this week? I don't think they're going to find anyone, so they're going to have to keep at least 4 guys, and that's who they're going to keep. So, like, I think only the really, really good, long-standing players could you say are only going to, like, where a team would only keep 2, like Zuma and Attach. Like a situation like that. Oh, I didn't forgot an A on Zuma.
I'm not even totally sold on the whole Zuma Attach thing. But I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's move on to Toronto. An absolute cluster that Toronto is.
Gosh, dude. Methods, Sustain.
Methods is going to stay, right?
Methods.
So, Methods stays. Who else stays? I mean,
Kleenex.
Kleenex stays. Cammy stays.
Oh man, I don't know. Because again, this is
Bance is gone.
I mean, how many people were we putting in this list?
I'm only doing the people that like actually played. So
Okay.
Bance
Looney?
is gone. Looney is probably gone.
What about Classic?
Maybe it's Methods, Kleenex, Cammy, Classic.
This is
You know
all
what?
the C's.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty core 4. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
You keep them around because is Classic gonna have an opportunity anywhere else?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Why would you say that? I think Classic probably will get relegated back to Challengers, but
Classic stock going into Modern Warfare was low.
yeah,
as
but
can
it
be.
definitely got raised up. I feel like.
No, yeah, he
during the
was a
season.
good player. So
I
like his
don't
stock
think
is
he's
high
com-
now.
Yeah, I don't think it's completely lost. I mean, teams like Paris would pick him up. Like,
Yes, but like you have to think about what players are gonna be there. It just depends. It just depends. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Bance, Looney. I'd imagine Bance is gone, but it's hard to say. Probably.
I just don't see any upside to Bance right now. But
nah, he was a little basic for me.
Yeah. He was a solid player in BO4 as well, like in the coming up and everything. But all right, Paris.
Everyone.
Want to talk Paris? Is everyone leaving? Are they not gonna have one of the same 5?
Drew, like the pool of players that Paris now has to pick from is pretty big. So
I know.
Well, I mean that. Yeah, and like with
You drop everyone and you pick up 2 more. -1.
I mean, there's a world where the Australians stay.
I
Right?
mean, I don't know how much money Paris has. Probably not a lot. So, but
I could see Lucas, Shocks, and Den staying. I would imagine that I'm gonna have them 3 stay.
I guess, but I don't know, man. This is a time where it's like Parasite could definitely take these. Looney, Gunless, like there's so many players out there. Aches, like so many other players
Again,
that Paris.
I'm just going from the contract perspective here. That like they need to keep at least like 3 as a safety net. And so like we may not see as much movement as we think. Like we're pulling a ninja, not seeing enough movement.
Contract perspective, dude. Oh, okay.
Because of contracts. Because again, teams don't want to get stuck with having to pick up only AMs. Although maybe Paris is totally fine with that. So yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. There's a world where everyone leaves.
I'm saying no one staying.
You're gonna go with everyone?
Yeah. This
Again, it's not crazy. I'm not confident that Dennis, Luca, and Shock stay.
This roster's being nuked, dude.
I think it's being
Into
nuked
oblivion.
also. I think it's being nuked also.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
Seattle.
Maybe just
dude.
Luca and Dens. Shox doesn't stay. Luca and Dens stay. All right, I'm gonna go with Luca and Dens. So that's where we're at now for all of you on YouTube. All right, Seattle. Let's move on.
I think
Octane.
I think Octane is the only one that stays
See,
here,
again,
bro.
now this is a relationships question because
Yeah.
Octane can get whoever he wants.
Yes.
If Octane calls up Priest and is like, "Yo, we're trading for you," Priest is gonna be like, "I'm down."
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
I think that's what he needs to do. He's gonna use his stock and get 3 amazing players.
Maybe.
Besides being friends, looking at the players, they don't mesh apparently. So just drop them all
Yeah.
and then pick up 3 people that you know you can play with.
Octane's loyal though.
He is loyal.
Him
That's
and
the-
Jerry.
That's his thing. It's like, does he keep Slack? Like, that whole team, they all liked each other, but
Man, where's
clearly the
Apathy
friend
gonna
team
go?
just
I like
doesn't
Apathy.
work.
I'm putting in friendship aside, and I'm just saying Octane is going to stay.
I mean,
He-
I'll say
He
the
has
same
enough
thing.
stock to get 3 amazing players.
I agree.
I don't know, man.
It could be Priesta, Arcitys, and Prestinni on that team with Octane.
Man. Again, do I think that guys are gonna stay on the team? Again, I just don't know if Slacked and like if any of those guys would be willing to play. Like, oh man,
Slacked would.
like you mean like play Am?
Oh, go
He may
Am?
not have a
Oh,
choice.
no.
Like play
He
to
might
play
not
2
have-
ways.
Slacked might not have a choice.
He doesn't have a choice. He's playing challengers or nothing.
That's tough for Slacked. That's a tough
Absolutely.
pill to swallow if you're Slacked. One of the winningest players in COD history. Yeah, man.
I mean, Slack could end up on like another team.
What
but
happens to Apathy then?
Apathy
happens to App?
Apathy will get a team, I think.
He'll get a team then, but who?
Maybe he goes to Rokkr.
Rokkr?
You want to
New
get
York? Could he go? Could it be the Zuma attached Apathy and then like a
main
like
AR.
a main AR of some sort?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's gonna be, I think, a lot of pros going into retirement or going into challengers that there's gonna be people that's gonna be like, damn, this is crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, that's just-
it has to.
It's inevitable. Like, I feel like with all these, we're trying to who's more reasonable to be in challengers. Like, none of them are. Like, we're just gonna see names in there that's gonna be like actually it's gonna be in challengers. It's gonna be like, wow, he's fallen so far.
Yeah. I mean, next podcast, I think then we'll kind of go from what we know and then the rest of our predictions, and then try to figure out which players are not going to find a starting roster that currently are on one. All right.
So
that'll
weird.
be our job next week. But let's finish this up.
Ugh.
I'm gonna say I'll hop on the bandwagon. Then I'll hop on the bandwagon and say Octane everyone. That is a sad bandwagon.
Yeah.
That's the saddest bandwagon.
Yeah.
Are we going back to back? Everyone's
Newt.
Dude, LAG,
This is just
LAG
Newt.
is
enemy
like-
new kid coming.
LAG seems more of for sure gonna be a nuke than Paris is. To
Oh,
me.
absolutely.
LAG
This-
is definitely
This
just
team
facts.
is done. dude.
Here,
This
my
team is
prediction
Vivid
for
is the only
LAG.
one.
LAG
Vivid,
is going to
maybe.
come back actually looking like a pretty good roster, I think.
Holy
LAG is going to come
cow.
back next year looking like a top 5 roster,
Yeah.
top 6 roster.
If you're on LAG,
You're calling everyone you know right now.
You're calling everyone.
Yeah,
those
I mean-
guys are going back to challengers, no doubt.
It's so sad.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if you're Aqua, like, he could find a team.
Challengers.
Saints good.
Challengers. Here's the thing.
Right.
There's going to be pros, like I said, that are going to be in challengers. It's going to be hard to swallow. And Saints is just one of those types of pros that
Aqua might be able
is
to
going
find
to
a
be
team.
one of them.
That
Aqua
is true.
is going to be another player I think is going to be in challengers again. I'd be surprised. Like, there's too many. There's Gunless, Dashy. Like, there's so many other players out there that are available that are in sub spots. Looney. Like, you're going to take those players before you take
Man,
them.
like,
And then think of the Am Scene. Players coming in from the Am Scene. Like-
yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, it's just the lack of opportunity is mind blowing. It's
I think-
mind blowing.
There's going to be a lot more players leaving of vets that we know, and there's going to be more young guns if these orgs follow what has worked the past 2 years, where getting your young guys who are just cracked out of their minds and getting your 1 or 2 vets leading
Yeah.
the way.
Right.
That
I guess
is
the bigger
that's the
question is like,
ingredient.
will like
Will
you
Orgs
know,
actually do
does
that?
this means that will LAG, Paris, Seattle, Toronto, Rokkr like be willing to take the Clayster plus whoever he wants? You know, like, all right, we're giving up on Kleenex and methods because Clayster wants to build his team here. You know, like,
I think
does
teams
that
will do
happen?
I think teams will do that for sure. I think Clayster's that player.
it's more
It's
likely for like LAG or Paris for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, LAG Paris for sure. I think they're gonna try to be mimicking that if they can.
Yeah, I mean, like, is there a world where like a guy tries to force his way out because, like, you know, like, I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? How many options is Seattle going to give Octane? Like, all right, you tell us who you're getting, and we will trade for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or like, is it going to be a situation where like, dude, we are. I don't know, man. You know, like, there's so many potential options. It's just crazy. And I don't even know where to begin with it. So we're probably going to have to wait till like let the game come to us a little bit and let it play into our hands a little bit more.
There's just too many variables.
There's just too many variables. I agree. I
I just don't know what the vibe is. Like, what are orgs thinking nowadays? Like in the past, like we said, it's like friendship sort of league, but we're seeing amazing young players who are just better.
Yeah.
And then, and when they're in the right hands, start thriving. So it's like, you have to imagine other orgs gonna start taking that same steps.
Yeah. Do we want to do one bold prediction each? One bold prediction
Sure.
each, and then maybe next week we'll do like a more like prediction-y type situation with like actual, like full on rosters. But give us one bold prediction. It could be anything. It could be about a finished roster, about one guy that's not for sure not going to find a team. It could be any of the above. Do you have one in your head, Rex, that you want to start us off with?
I think OpTic. I don't think Slasher's gonna be. I don't know. It's go to Sam.
My bold prediction, and I can see it happening, is Gunless does not get on a starting roster.
Oh, that would be depressing.
That's a good one, dude. That's really good.
I think it could happen.
But there's gotta be a world where Paris is like, dude, Octane, Gunless, come here.
Maybe.
And then,
But where's Gunless's mind at? Was Gunless be like, Paris is paying their players the minimum amount they can pay. I feel like Paris does not have a ton of money.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
But
why they have the players they have.
bold
Bold
prediction.
All right, well, I guess we'll leave it at that. We can discuss some more.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I actually like that a lot. Rex, do you have one in mind, or should I try to fire one away?
You fire.
All right. I've seen too many people already say the Arcitys Prestinni going to Seattle with Octane rumor. So I feel like that's not bold at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's too boring. So let's say Clayster is going to LAG with Arcitys, Prestinni, and Abezy.
I don't see that, man.
No, not Abezy. That's not possible. With Priesta. We're gonna go with that bold prediction. That bold prediction.
I like it. That'd be cool to
Arcitys,
see.
Priesta, Priesta, and Clayster to LAG.
Ooh, that'd be so weird to see.
That would be. We're going with that one we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
That one is. I like that one a lot.
I like it. Rexy.
Rex, you got one for us?
I mean, the only thing that comes to my mind, I don't see anybody really. That whole Empire team is just gonna blow up, and they're just gonna separate out into their own teams.
That is a
So your bold
maybe
prediction is that only
Shotzzy.
Shotzi's left?
And and the only reason I say Shotzzy's gonna stay is because of his buyout was just crazy.
I mean, I think it'd be bold of you to say even two were leaving. If you said two people were leaving from Empire, that's pretty
a bold prediction. Yeah.
I think
So, yeah.
2 people are leaving from Empire.
Because
for sure.
I did a poll on Twitter about like, do you think that more than one of these people is going to leave? And like I think it was like 70% of people believe that 4 of the 5 will stay.
Yeah.
So a bold prediction would be saying that 2 or more will leave.
I think the majority of people think only one person is leaving.
from FaZe and Empire.
Yeah.
I don't
But-
see that, man. I just don't. I just feel like it's gonna be crazier than that.
Again,
It'd be
the
so
trickle down
crazy.
effect is what we got to watch out for.
Yeah.
If Arcitys and Prestinni leave, and if Priesta and Major Maniac leave,
Mhm.
and Clayster leaves, those 5 alone could just create a massive trickle down effect
Yep.
Yeah.
that causes every team to lose at least 2 starters.
Yeah.
I mean, I also think Slack's gonna be relegated to challengers. Maybe that's bold.
That's pretty bold.
Yeah.
One more bold prediction for the fun of it. I'm gonna say. Oh man, one second. Fill the dead air. No, don't. No.
You don't want to do that?
No. I want to look at something.
Yes.
Bro, I want to rip my hair out.
My bold prediction
yeah.
is that Zuma, Attach, Priesta, and Apathy go to New York. And it's just, that's
Zuma,
the 4.
Attach, Priest, at Apathy.
And they just make it work.
Who's your main?
That's exactly why it's bold.
Do you think orgs are like willing to like these
It's a
orgs?
Black Ops game. Who cares?
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Like again,
Bold
like
prediction.
that's almost like agreeing to like the whole friendship thing. Like that's not a team that's gonna win things. I don't feel like. So
No, probably not.
and orgs are trying to build winning teams.
It's a bold prediction. That's for sure.
So
It doesn't really make sense. Okay, I want one more bold prediction.
Wow.
One more
One
on
more.
Temp. Give me one bold prediction on Temp because I have no clue where Temp's going.
here's the thing: pros love Temp. They think Temp is gonna be this next champion of COD. I don't. I feel like he should go back to challengers. I don't know. He's been underwhelming to me.
Oh, this could be a fun one. Bold prediction: Temp and Hook reunite on Paris with Mac, Temp, Mac, Hook, and Abezy.
Sure.
Nah, bro.
Wow.
And
It's
Temp
bold.
is and
I don't think
And
that's
Max
gonna be
and
very
Mania are.
good.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's
you'd
going
have
to
to
be
be.
good.
I don't know. I'm just at this point. I'm having no one's listening
No.
at this point. You know, everyone's gone.
Everyone's gone. We got one
So we
listener.
do appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's been a fun one. It's been a
Yes.
long one. I mean, we kind of expected this one to kind of be our marathon podcast because there was just too much to talk about. And next week, I'd imagine we're going to do chapter 2 of Rostermania predictions and go from there and kind of update you on what we're learning. I mean, we should know a lot more about what players. Again, we don't know if this is going to get leaked out at all. Basically, CDL Intel is our only hope for leaking out contract stuff at this point. So we don't really know what's going to happen in the next week. But multiplayer reveal next week for Black Ops Cold War. It looks like there's going to be some sort of event. So, and if Maven's going, it makes me interested to wonder if there's going to be some sort of competitive type of aspect to it. It's a little weird that he's going.
Hopefully, yes.
But who knows at that point. I'm get unusually excited that we might have rank play earlier on this year. But anyway, long story short, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Drop a review on Apple Podcasts, comment on YouTube, follow on Twitter, SalvationsElite, Bastion_Bo3, Rex, ShadyNero, and guys, we will see you in the next episode of the Best of Call of Duty Esports Podcast. Wow.